Good evening, sim racing fans across the globe, and closing in on the final third as we welcome you to round 7 of 9, the final third of the series for the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series 2015-2016 season, and the Bluegrass State, site of tonight's 7th round of competition at Kentucky. 250 miles on tap as we get set to rock and roll, and a lot of action to be decided, though we're 3 races from the end. Nothing is for certain as far as championships go and as far as the drivers who will lock into the 2016 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series field. But first off, good evening and welcome to the broadcast on both iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. I'm Jacob Seelman alongside Andy Kessler and Brian Macklin, getting ready to bring you all the action for tonight's 250-mile event. And Andy, I'll start with you. We're down to the final 3 races. It's time to make everything count. It's the last night. If you're going to have a drop race, this is the last night to have something go wrong before you have 2 races to go. And at that point, you got to make everything count.
Yeah, it's a great thing, actually, iRacing doing that, not letting the drop week go all the way to the last week. Doing it now after tonight's race, after week 7, then everything's all said and done. The points are what they are. These guys know if they're trailing the leader, they know exactly how much they have to get. The guys who are, which is a huge bunch of guys right there around that 20th spot, trying to get that last and final position to make themselves eligible for that Peak Series. So at least these guys will have these last final 2 weeks. Of course, 2 tough tracks. We talk about Richmond and Daytona being the final 2 races. So totally 2 different things. But when you look at it, at least they know what they need going into each race to at least make up some ground, try to get that championship, or even for those bottom guys down there fighting for that last spot to get into the Peak Series.
And Brian, this is a very tough, very abrasive racetrack. Kentucky is. It's going to make tire wear very key if we get a long green flag run in tonight's event, and it's going to really test drivers. Depending on when you pit, how long do you stay out, or depending on how the cautions fall, do you pit and get 4 tires every single time? A lot to think about.
Well, I certainly think you're going to see these guys come in and get 4 tires every chance they get. And I think you're going to see a similar strategy here tonight that we've seen at the other mile-and-a-half tracks in the Pro Series so far this season. If they go green flag for long periods of time, you're going to see them pit after 25 to 30 laps. They're not going to run the tank out of gas the way that you typically would see these guys do, because the tire fall-off is so massive that they're going to give up too much time if they stay out there for too long. We saw at Atlanta. It seemed like every single one of the big drivers was on a 30-lap run. That was their strategy. They were going to run 30 laps and they're going to come to pit road and get tires no matter where they were at on the track and no matter how much fuel they had left in the tank. And we saw them do that pretty much the entire race, and it actually played a big factor in who ended up at the front at the end. You're going to see that again here tonight at Kentucky. This track is very abrasive. As you said, the tires are going to fall off a lot, and if they go green flag, you're going to see a very short run strategy before they come to pit road.
Josh Berry, the winner at Atlanta, second in points. Alan Bowe's still your points leader. Andy, does this make Berry the favorite going into Kentucky, or do you not pull too much away from these 2 mile-and-a-halves? Because, yeah, you can say they're alike in their configuration, but as it really digs in, these 2 very different racetracks.
Yeah, you got a lot less banking at Kentucky, so that'll play a little bit different, obviously, in the speeds that these guys carry. Still a fast racetrack. Different grooves. We saw the guys running in the high side 2 weeks ago at Atlanta. I'm not so sure you're going to see really an extreme high side here at this track, maybe in 3 and 4, but you'll definitely see the guys off the apron or off that bottom white line. You definitely don't want to run down there through 1 and 2. There's a lot of bumps down there. So as far as tire wear goes, it's very, very similar to Atlanta, but as far as the actual banking and the speeds and the entrance of the corners and things like that, and the way these guys will get their runs off the corners, they are a little bit different. So it'll be fun to see. There are, like you said, some similarities, but at the same time, this is the last cookie cutter mile-and-a-half track that we will see on the schedule this season. So for those guys that this is their type of track, or this is the type of track that really suits them, some of those guys, if they're really battling for the championship, this is going to be a place where they're going to have to maximize their points here tonight, get everything they can with Richmond looming next week.
Speaking of points and the looming factor of Richmond, Brian, who's safe and who needs a good run tonight to get closer to that safe zone, especially around that top 20? Tyler Laughlin's the man on the bubble right now.
Yeah, and you're actually seeing the points on your screen right now. I think Tyler Laughlin is one that definitely needs a good race, but then every single one of those drivers that's on the outside looking in needs to have a good race tonight, especially those that have a bad week or a couple of bad weeks in these first 7 races. This is the last opportunity they have to get a drop. They don't want to have a bad night tonight. They want to maximize on points tonight. That way they can drop one of their bad weeks from earlier in the season. I'm looking at the points myself right now, and there's several drivers down there that have really bad finishes. One that comes to mind is Greg McKinney. He has 5 points at the Watkins Glen. He finished horrible there. That's a drop week that he could really take advantage of. That if he gets a top 5 finish tonight, he could get a 30-point swing, which would move him up inside the top 20, depending on where the other drivers finish. And then you got to look at the guys at the front. Alan Bowes has had a somewhat flawless season, minus a bad finish at Atlanta. He's pretty much finished top 3 every single race, so he has nothing to worry about. He can go out here and just have some fun and try to win the race. I think he's in the best position out of any of these guys.
We're going to take a quick break here on LSRTV, come back for the grid and the green flag in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Live Sim Racing TV and iRacing Live coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series.
Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations, so there's
And we welcome you back here on iRacing Live and LSRTV to coverage of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, powered by iRacing.com, the world leader in motorsport simulation. And getting ready to kick things off tonight from the Bluegrass State, the virtual Kentucky Speedway. Very fast, very abrasive 1.5 miles. And as we get set to rock and roll for tonight's coverage, Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, Brian Macklin with you in the broadcast tower as we get set to kick things off. And we've talked about tire wear being a major key to this race. I think another key tonight, Andy, is going to be track position. And I circled two guys on top of the board that I didn't expect to be there. Really two pleasant surprises, veterans in NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Brad Davies on the pole with a 30.004. Alex Warren outside of him, just 1/1000th off. I think it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it definitely should be. And that second row is looking pretty stout, too, with the 55. Nick Furler starting third, and fourth is the 93 of Byron Daly. So a bunch of names that we haven't talked about starting up in the top spot up there. But as you see the full field actually scrolling across the top of your screen there, and we get set to go racing here. And looking forward to this exciting race here, a full field, and should be a fun one here tonight there, Jacob.
I think it will be a fun one. And as we work into turn number 3, Davies and Warren, the two that will lead the field to the green flag. We're glad you're with us both on iRacing Live and here on LSRTV. As the American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car heads for the safety of pit road, Davies leading the field to green, would like to do what he did earlier this season and go to victory lane. Green flag flies. We're underway from the Bluegrass State in Kentucky. 250 miles on tap, and quickly away is that number 11, Brad Davies, to the point. Inside for second in turn 1. Nick Furler with the advantage in the 55 as Alex Warren fights to hang tough on the outside.
Yeah, he's fighting to hang tough, but Byron Daly's going to end up getting by him. Here comes Trey Edson now in that 6 machine, working his way, trying to get around the 82 of Alex Warren. So falling back that high side, obviously, place he doesn't want to be. Trouble a little bit behind him. Brandon Schmidt in the 3 car kind of pushes up the racetrack at 3 and 4 there. He's going to lose a bunch of positions as they work their way down the front stretch.
And as we work our way through, already working this second lap and seeing a gap about half a second. Davies was able to pull out over the rest of the field early on. Furler back there in second, another 3 car lengths to Byron Daly. And I think it's impressive how quickly that Brad has been able to pull out there in the early going, Brian. I'm shocked that he's been able to open up this kind of a lead this quickly.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a really strong car here in the early stages of this race. I'm really interested to see what Alan Bowes does, though. He's already on the march. He started in the 8th position, and just 3 laps in, he's worked his way all the way up into the 4th position, and he has set his sights on Byron Daly looking for 3rd place. He's got a fast car, too, and if he can get up there ahead of Byron Daly and Nick Furler, he might be able to challenge Brad Davies for this lead. He's working on it. He's going to be there in just a few laps.
He's trying to work his way there, but it's not going as quickly as I think Nick Furler would have liked. We'll keep a monitor on that battle for the lead. A little bit further back, though, Josh Berry in the Speedco 88 already making moves. He is up inside the top dozen. Rides 12th right now, just got around Greg McKinney, and Tyler Laughlin going the other direction. Started in that top dozen. He's fallen back, Andy, and again, this is somebody we circled in the 51. Laughlin needs a good run tonight, and he's not got the car early on.
Yeah, he's one of those that had a couple not so good finishes. I do recall one, not sure which track it was, only with all these Christmas breaks and these weeks off we had, they're all starting to fall away from the memory bank there. But yeah, I do remember him having some issues actually getting a DNF in one of those races about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So he is one of those guys on the bubble that really needs an exceptional run here tonight. Early on, though, lots of laps to go here. Plenty of time to work on that car. A couple pit stops he'll have at least as long as this thing stays green. But Tyler Laughlin, definitely somebody who looks pretty comfortable currently in that position right now in that 14th spot. But he is one guy that we're going to have to keep an eye on all night.
Up front, we mentioned Nick Furler trying to chop in that lead that Brad Davies had built up. He's starting to do that. The 55 down to 3 car lengths as they work off turn number 2. We're going to be 6 laps in when they get back to the stripe, but Furler really starting to cut into it. He's very good, Brian. You're a driver, and you've seen this a lot from that entrance to the corner all the way through the apex. He's really able to make up time in the first half of the corner, and he's really cut into that gap from about 6 car lengths down to 2 now.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job as you are riding on board with Nick Furler in that 55 machine right now. He's done a really good job just getting the car into the corner and then maintaining his speed through the center of the corner and coming up out of the corner with that momentum. That's something you don't see very often, is when they can drive into the corner as hard as you're seeing him do it and still have the momentum on the exit of the corner. Typically when they drive in deep like that, they're going to lose a lot of momentum on corner exit, but he's doing a good job so far, and he's closed this gap down inside 3/10 now, and he's maintaining pace with Brad Davies right there. He lost just a hair on the lap times right there compared to Brad Davies, but he is staying right with him, and he's certainly got a car that can compete with him. If he gets any closer, we might see a battle for the lead. He's getting very close to getting to it.
He's there. It's like you hit that pocket of air, Andy, and you can't quite get to the point where you can get alongside somebody. You're stuck right behind him, and these two have broken away from the field. It's already over a second back from Nick Furler, who rides second, to Alan Bowes, the points leader. That 21 in third has established himself in that position, but just cannot keep pace with the 2 leaders.
Yeah, that's, for right now, Alan Bowes obviously very fast at these 1.5 miles. We've seen it all season long. Not surprised to see him make up those 5 positions already from 8th to 3rd. But as this race continues to move on and get further in, a couple adjustments on pit road, I'm sure we'll see that 21 battling these guys as the race goes on. He did knock off a 10th that lap right there, so he is making up some ground as Furler continues to close the gap right now on Brad Davies.
He's close, but he's not quite there. Working lap number 10 this time by. One of the other notables that I am surprised has fallen back as quickly as he has. The 3 of Brandon Schmidt, Brian. Started 7th, has fallen all the way outside the top 20. Riding in a battle with Ryan Lowe, 38 and 3 back there. Lowe 20th. Brandon Schmidt, though, all the way back to 21st. Early on, huge backslide, and he's in the middle of a hornet's nest with Blake Bryan and the 02 outside of him.
Yeah, Brandon Schmidt actually just got extremely loose off turn 4, did a heck of a job hanging onto that car, but he is not happy with the car at all. I was just listening into his radio, and he said that the car is extremely loose, and he needs a big adjustment on his first pit stop if he's going to get this car going back in the right direction. He's finally going to get in line here, though, behind the 02 of Blake Bryant, and he's hoping that he can just get into a rhythm and hit his marks until he can get to pit road. But as you see here, now he's got a battle from the number 22 machine, Rob Ackley, as he actually almost makes contact with the wall off turn 4. He is really struggling here here early on. He needs to get to pit road fast.
He's fighting the handle. Josh Lawton in the 40 will go by, and that will drop Schmidt back now to the 24th position on the racetrack. Justin Trombley in the 17, going to be the next challenger. And how about Cody Bias as well? The 27 scroll all the way back through to about 31st spot. Andy, to find that 27, that's unusual for the driver who kicked off this 2015-2016 season with a victory. We've barely heard from him since.
Yeah, he has struggled. He had a pretty decent race at Fontana a few weeks ago. Ran up front, fuel strategy and such caused him to have some a not so good finish, but he was up front. But yeah, this is definitely a strange sight to see out of the 27. Typically very fast at these mile and a halves. A poor qualifying effort put him in that 37 starting spot. He has made up a few spots though. You know, as this race has gone on, he's continuing to pick them off one at a time. But for Cody Bias, some sort of pit strategy is what he's going to need in order to get himself some track position.
14 laps in, and we continue to watch battles back in the pack. However, there's still, despite Nick Furler's best efforts, been no change at the front of the field. Brad Davies leads him by just over a car length. Alan Bowes, Byron Daly, Trey Edson, the top 5, followed by Michael Johnson. A move for 7th. Mitchell Hunt taking it away from the 82 of Alex Warren. Let's go to that battle. 81 and 82. They're settling it out, but Warren all of a sudden pulls back 3 car lengths, and Mitchell Hunt in that 81 going to work. He wants a piece of Michael Johnson for 6th in turn 3, Andy.
He does, but at the moment, though, up front, the 55 of Nick Furler, we'll go back to that in a moment. He just made the pass entering turn number 3 on Brad Davies. Not quite able to pull quite away from him yet. Still just 1 car length as they battle back into turn number 1. So Nick Furler able to get that lead away from him finally. But you got to look out just behind these two. Alan Bowes has really cut into the lead now. 9/10 of a second now from almost a second and a half. So that 21 car is on the move.
It may well be a 3-car battle for the lead before too long. Those 3 have run away from Byron Daly and Trey Edson. The rest of the top 5, 16 of 134 laps complete here from the Kentucky Speedway. And as we settle into a long green flag run, we're going to take an opportunity to take our first break, appease some of the sponsors, and continue onward here from Kentucky Speedway after just a few moments. Nick Furler, your leader, with 17 laps complete. Davies, Bowes, Daly, and Edson chasing from Kentucky Speedway. You're watching iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing Live coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series 2015-2016 season, the 7th of 9 races here tonight from the Kentucky Speedway. And what was a 2-car battle for the lead when we left is now a 3-man race for all the marbles. Alan Bowes, the points leader in that number 21, has run down both Brad Davies, the pole sitter, and your current race leader, Nick Furler. Bowes looking for P2 in turns 1 and 2. He wants a piece of the middle groove of the racetrack. Davies up high, and now Bowes looking to the inside. He's got the run. He wants it in 3.
Yeah, he does want that piece of that second spot right now. He's going to get him clear. Davies just going to let him go here off of turn number 4, though. He's going to apply the pressure, though, and look back to the inside. Not going to force the issue this early on. Now Bowes now to that second spot. He's going to try to close the gap on Nick Furler. Sub 2-3 car lengths right now, entering turn number 1. But that 21 machine, just a flat-out fast race car, and that's exactly what this guy's had all season long. Gets a little loose right there off of turn 2. Might have touched the wall. If not, it was awfully close, but continues to try to close the gap here on the leader, Nick Furler. Doing a great job in this race right now, Alan Bowes, and just trying to continue on this momentum of a fabulous season he's had so far.
He's probably the only one, Brian, that's going to be disappointed to see the drop factored in, because it'll bring his huge points lead over the rest of this pack. It'll kind of bring him back down to manageable just a little bit when you stop and think about it. He really hasn't had a bad race yet this season, at least not by normal standards, and he's closing in to really make another run at a victory tonight. He wants a piece of the lead. Nick Furler's got it, and Bowes is there as they cross the stripe to put 24 laps up on the board.
Yeah, Alan Bowes has had an absolutely incredible season. He has just been the most dominant car on the year, and it's certainly going to make him look like a favorite going into the Peak Antifreeze Series. I would have to believe that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be contending for wins in the Peak Antifreeze Series. And for the rest of these guys, yeah, they're going to have an opportunity to catch up to him in the points, but I still think Alan Bowes is your favorite to win this championship as he gets a little sideways off turn 4. He is driving it for everything that it's worth right now, trying to get this race lead from Nick Furler. He is all over the back bumper of Nick, and Alan Bowes is really working hard here on lap 26.
Yeah, he is. Now he's going after Nick Furler for the lead. Got to run through the middle of turn number 2, and he is right there. Just can't quite get all the way to the quarter panel, and Furler able to hold him at bay. It looks like that 55 a little bit better on the 3 and 4 end of the racetrack, Andy. That's where he's making his time and really able to hold off Allen as they run.
Yeah, that 21 car, he may be fast, but he looks a little bit out of control right now. It hasn't affected him as far as, you know, his speed or anything like that, but he's definitely a lot quicker in 1 and 2 than the 55 of Furler, and we can see that right there as he closed the gap on the back bumper. It looked like he almost had to let off the throttle there, otherwise he would have ran right into the back of him. So for some reason, 1 and 2 is working real good for Bowes, but 3 and 4, Nick Furler's definitely figured 3 and 4, that end of the racetrack out, and you can see him pull out right now as you look on board with his rear bumper cam right now. He pulls out almost to a 2-car length lead when they exit turn 4, but then you can see right here as they enter turn number 1, that 21 really closes the gap.
We continue to watch this 3-man fight, and it is a long way back to Mitchell Hunt, who's all alone in the 4th spot. 3 seconds behind this 3-man battle for the race lead. Michael Johnson 5th, Logan Clampett, Byron Daly, Alex Warren, Josh Berry, and Trey Edson, the rest of the top 10 as they run. And I'm curious, Brian, because this is a kind of a quirky racetrack as we've come to know it, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on the fact that these 3, Furler, Bowes, and Davies, have really been able to just run away from the rest of the field. I mean, I think we see that they're the 3 best cars in this run, but I didn't expect them to just run off the front of the train like they have.
I don't know that I expected them to get this far out, but this is the type of racetrack where a couple of guys are going to hit on it and they're going to just absolutely annihilate the rest of the field. This is a very tough track to figure out. As now you see Brad Davies is going to take away the second position from Alan Bowes. It looked like on the backstretch last time by Alan Bowes might have got really close to the wall and he lost a ton of time, and that allowed Brad Davies to get to him. But this is a very difficult track for drivers to learn how to drive. And me personally, I have always struggled here at Kentucky. The bumps all the way around the track, especially through turns 3 and 4, are just so aggressive, and they make you work for it. And it's really hard to hit the line the way you want to. And if you find a couple of guys like these three that can find that groove and hit it lap after lap, they're going to run away. And that's exactly what we've seen so far. Nick Furler has had a really impressive run. He's held on to this lead for a long time, and to have the competition behind him that he's had, he's doing a really good job not folding to the pressure.
He has managed to really play his card perfectly through this early green flag run. We've seen it go green all the way. In fact, it happened in back at Texas, I think the season opener, Andy, and I'm very interested to see if they can do it again, though this isn't the track that I thought they would do it if it was going to happen, just because of the fact the tire wear is so huge here. You usually think that somebody's going to get loose and lose it as we get ready to go on green flag pit stops here.
Yeah, we're working lap number 32 right now, and the leader's still out on the racetrack. A lot of guys about mid-pack on back are the ones that are starting to come down pit road. The 14 right now, Robin Williams, he's going to be coming down. Cody Bias in the 27 looks like he's going to be coming down this time by. These are all guys in that around that 20th spot on back. So this is the opportunity or the chance that these guys need right now to make up the track position we talked about early on, is that they were going to have to do something like this in short pit and try to take advantage of the fresh tires to possibly make up some ground. Without the cautions, obviously they were unable to do that currently right now at the moment, and it looks like the battle for the lead shaping up again now as the 11 of Davies looking to the inside of Furler. He's got the nose in there. He's side by side now. Looks like he's going to clear him off turn number 4. So Brad Davies back to the lead here at Kentucky.
Lap 33 goes on the board, and Brad Davies goes back out front. Mitchell Hunt, one of your leaders, pits from the 4th position. The question now is, when do these front 3 come down pit road? Because that's going to be that's the key here. When one of them pits, they're all going to have to pit or risk losing this battle. And Nick Furler in second, I think, Brian, about ready to give up the ghost and hit pit road.
Yeah, he just said to his crew chief he was coming this time. He actually is a little fast coming on to pit road. He's really got to check up. He almost missed the commitment cone coming into the pit road. Very close call for Nick Furler coming to the pits. That also brought Alan Bowes right behind him. And caution out on the racetrack. This is going to shake everything up. Our first caution of the evening. Brad Davies is still on the racetrack. We're going to have to figure out what happened. It looks like Andrew Fayesh in the 77 was around off turn 4. It looks like he was trying to get slowed up coming to pit road, and he got ran over by the number 54 of Jacob Harbers. That brings out our first caution.
Caution at lap 35 for the first time tonight, and it was right in the middle of green flag pit stops. Going to be great for some, not so for others, as Nick Furler going to go ahead and get service, as is Alan Bowes right here. This may work out to their advantage here, depending on how everything cycles through. It's going to be very interesting to see, but I may like that call. I'm not sure yet, Andy, but I may like it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, it caught a few guys lap down, too. Josh Berry in the 88, who had made his way up inside the top 10 after starting in the 16th spot. Now he's showing the lap down right now currently, so he's going to have to get a wave around, which is going to put him in the back of the pack. So, yeah, it's going to definitely be interesting to see how badly this shakes up the field. A lot of guys right now currently trapped a lap down. We're only showing 18 on the lead lap here on pit road, or that will be on pit road this time by. So a lot of guys are going to have to take the wave around. They will be on the lead lap, but obviously going to be back in the pack.
Leaders are in. Brad Davies going to be the first one to head down pit road, and this really helps him pin some of his competition, Brian, a lap down and forces them to really have to work their way back forward here. I think Furler, Bose, Clampett are going to be okay. They're going to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap and be able to work their way back around, but a dicey situation, and now Davies down on the very far end of pit road.
Yeah, Brad Davies didn't really plan on coming down under caution, but it's going to work in his favor. He's not going to take any chances on losing track position. He's in his pit box. He's going to slide through actually just a little bit. He's got to back up. Now he's going to go for his 4 tires and fuel. But no pressure here for his pit crew, because all the guys that are around him, they're actually a little bit slower than him. He knows he's going to beat them if he gets behind them on the racetrack. Alex Warren's actually going to beat him off of pit road, and it looks like there's going to be a close battle between himself and the 18 of Damon Burnett. He's going to win that battle, but Alex Warren is going to win the race off of pit road of those that came to pit road.
And we'll reset the running order when we come back. Going to take a break under our first caution of the night. Trouble on the turn 2 end of the racetrack, but it's no consequence. Brad Davies, your leader at Kentucky. Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing live coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series from Kentucky Speedway, race 7 of 9. Jacob Steelman, Andy Kessler, Brian Macklin in the broadcast booth, and almost set to go back green flag racing. Alex Warren won the race off pit road and is going to restart on the outside of that front row when we go green here in just a moment. 39 laps going to be in the books when we get the green flag. Warren, the control car. Warren goes bye-bye as Brad Davies, it looked like, almost spun the tires maybe on the restart, Andy. He did not get up to speed. That outside lane moves, and Alex Warren, Damon Burnett, they lead to turn 2.
Yeah, Warren did not waste any time right there. Almost caught Davies sleeping there. Maybe spun the tires just because he was so shocked Alex went when he did, but a good jump by the 82, pulls him out ahead. Damon Burnett started 13th. There he is in that second spot right now, but here comes Davies. Davies working hard now on that back bumper, trying to get back into that second spot, but a huge shout out for these guys 4th through 9th right now. All started way in the back of the field in the 30s and high 20s there, Jacob, and with this staying out under that pit stop, not getting caught a lap down. It's helped those guys as far as track position goes.
It really has, and we're now just about a third of the way through. Well, I take that back. I can do math. A quarter of the way through this race. Still a ways to go. 167 laps. We got 41 complete this time by, and I like the looks of Alex Warren on the short run. I like Brad Davies, though, on the long run. He has been very, very good, and I'll be interested to see how Nick Furler is able to rebound. He's back up inside the top 15. He's still got a ways to go, though, almost 3 seconds to catch your leaders right now. Warren, your leader, and let's go back and find that 55 of Nick Furler. He just worked his way up a couple of positions, got one on the outside in the, I want to say working around now the, actually a lap car. It's the 92 of, no, not a lap car. I'll get it right. 92 Jeff Ramsdell is going way backwards in a hurry. Andy, he was falling backwards so quickly that my timing and scoring eyes weren't looking for him.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, you get early in the run right there, you get caught on that outside, just not the place to be. Obviously, as the run goes on, the tires start to wear. That top groove really starts to catch in. So falling back right now, 92 of Jeff Ramsdale falling back a little bit, but still a definite positive gain for him starting this race in the 38th spot. Right now across the stripe in the 17th spot. But a pretty great battle going on just ahead of where all this is. Right around that top 10 area there. Starts with the 93 of Byron Daly. Leading this whole pack right now, 2 by 2, about 3-4 rows deep right now currently. All battling hard for that position as Byron Railson. That's for that 6th spot, and they're still stacked up right behind these guys. Alan Bowes right in the mix of it at the start-finish line.
Yeah, that's going to open up a myriad of holes on the inside as well. Logan Clampett in the middle of this mix going forward, working around the 02 Blake Bryant. That's going to open a hole for Furler in the 55, making a move. And up front, the battle for the lead has been on between Alex Warren and Damon Burnett. Burnett was there last time by the stripe, could not get it done, and is now going to be under attack. Battle for second, the 11 of Davies to the inside, the 18 of Burnett going topside, and behind him the 46 of Dylan Rafferty. He wants to make a move as well and get his name in this fight for the first time.
Yeah, great battle right there. That 3rd spot, 4th spot, they're all shaking it up. Burnett now looking to the inside of Davies. Not going to have anything going into turn number 3. Rafferty, though, these guys battled side by side, able to close that gap up. So 4 cars now trying to fight for that top position, and here comes Davies. Turn 2.
And I don't know that we're really surprised by this. It was just a question of when Davies was going to work his way back around Alex Warren. You had the feeling, Brian, that he was being extremely patient right now. Davies establishes himself, I think, as the car to beat tonight.
Yeah, when you have a car as fast as Brad Davies has, you have to be patient in these situations. He knew he was faster than Alex Warren. He knew around these guys. He didn't need to make the move in a couple of laps. He had plenty of time to do it, so he race
11th right now. Davies, though, able to extend the lead out in front. It is 0.7 of a second over Warren. Now Rafferty, Burnett, and Nicholas Johnston. The rest of your top 5, followed by Byron Daly, Adam Gilliland, Alan Bowes, Joey Israelson, and how about Timmy Hill?
Just avoid all the wrecks and stay in the back and just kind of see what's happening in front of him. He kind of plays it out and figures out what's going on, and then he makes his move when it counts.
Certainly off of turn number 2, he's going to look to the inside. He's got in front of him, at least for the time being. But I'm looking also, guys, at this battle at 90. Some pretty fast race cars. Some guys that we saw up front early on, Alan Bowes, Byron Daly, they're all in the mix here, along with Timmy Hill that we just talked about. So these guys starting to get some of this track position back that they lost after making their green flag pit stop and then the caution coming out. So guys like Alan Bowes really chomping into that lead bit by bit here as every lap passes.
And with 53 laps going on the board when Brad Davies gets back to the start-finish line.
well, I should say 2 weeks ago, winner in the 88 since 16th. 17th is Trey Edson. Dylan C. Jones having a decent run for himself, sitting in 18th. 19th is David Rattler, and round out the top 20 in that 51 is Tyler Laughlin.
Started in the 20th position, so he lost one position so far, but pretty much staying steady. Dylan Duval is in the 22nd position, or 21st position, 22nd, I'll get it right. Rob Ackley is 23rd, Joshua Lofton is 21st, Jeff Ramsel is
second, Shane Doherty 33rd, Kyle Putz 34th, Brandon Hoff and Brandon Schmidt 35th and 36th. One lap down in 37th is Robin Williams, and the only car currently out about 10 laps ago. That's a look at your LSRTV full field rundown with 58 laps complete, powered by iRacing.com, the world leader in motorsport simulation. Brad Davies leads it by a second and a half. We'll pick up the battle for second, which has started to heat up again. The 46 of Dylan Rafferty, 82 Alex Warren, and Rafferty trying to take that spot and bring Damon Burnett along with it, make it a battle for third.
Yeah, side by side now down the front straightaway. The 82 starting to fall off as these tires start to wear out on that machine. He did restart this race in that top spot now, currently sitting in fourth. Alan Bozo right behind these guys in that fifth spot now as we were going through that full field rundown, was able to get around Adam Gillen and Nicholas Johnston. So that puts Alan Bose back up into that top 5 spot there. Hasn't really gained anything as far as time-wise. Still a little over 3 seconds away from our leader, although he was battling in some traffic. We'll have to see how the next 5-10 laps will do for him currently right now. But Brad Davies continuing to stake up the show here. Almost 2 seconds now the lead over the 46 of Dylan Rafferty.
Burnett, Warren, and now Bose up to 5th and out ahead of this battle that sees Nicholas Johnson, Adam Gilliland, Byron Daly, and now Nick Furler cracks the top 10, back up to 9th. At 55 on the move. Brian, you said he had the fastest car, at least by your estimation, and he's moving.
Yeah, he's worked his way back up into the 9th position so far, but the problem is he's about 5 seconds behind our race leader right now, and he's matching lap times with Brad Davies, but that's not going to get him back up there. He's going to have to run a little bit quicker if he's going to get back up there now, or he's going to have to employ some kind of a strategy or hope for a caution that bunches him back up. But he's doing a good job working his way up through the field. His crew chief told him not to get any worried because of this, just to hit his marks and get back up there as quickly as he could, and he's doing a good job so far. I do believe you're going to see these guys coming to pit road in the next 10 to 15 laps, though. If they go with the strategy we've seen them do in recent weeks, they're going to be hitting that 30-lap mark here in about 10 laps. So we started seeing green flag pit stops when we got around that point, back around lap 30, and we're working around the number 88 of Josh Berry now. There's a good little battle for the 14th position. He actually just got ahead of Blake Bryant and Mitchell Hunt, and is working on trying to catch up with Joey Israelson. So a good battle back here.
Yeah, Barry's another one that I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been able to make any more hay than he has early on, Andy, because that 88, you expect him to be up front. He's gone just about nowhere tonight. This is the first time I've really seen him start to be able to make some moves.
Yeah, he was one of those drivers that wanted to come down pit road. He actually made a pit stop under the green flag condition that first time and came down early trying to make the fresh tires give him a slight advantage. The problem with that was obviously the caution came out that foiled his plan there, and what that was is they put him a lap down, made him restart towards the back of the field. So he slowly and methodically worked his way back up through after restarting this and after the caution. Just now got around Michael Johnson, so that's going to put him up to that 11th spot. So Josh Berry very slowly, very methodically, like the veteran that he is now trying to make his way back up into the top 10.
64 laps complete, coming up on 100 miles of 250 done here on LSRTV and iRacing Live, and Davies continues to extend that gap we imagine before too long it's going to be another round of green flag pit stops here from the Bluegrass State. But right now, we're going to leave you with Davies out in front and take a commercial break here from the Kentucky Speedway. You're watching LSRTV and iRacing Live coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Stay with us. Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing live coverage from Kentucky Speedway of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Jacob Seelman, Brian Macklin, Andy Kessler in the broadcast booth for rounds 7 and 9 for the 2015-2016 series, and watching a little bit of pitch shuffle and strategy, and your leader Damon Burnett, who has not come to pit road yet. Brad Davies pitted about 4 laps ago, handed the lead to Burnett at lap 73, and you're waiting at this point because you know they've got to come in, but I think they've already pushed it too far, Brian.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what their strategy is, but if I was a guessing man, I'd say they might be trying to do this on a one-stop strategy from here, where they're not going to come back to pit road again. As Brad Davies, a little bit of contact there with the number 46 of Dylan Rafferty. He was trying to work his way through the slower traffic and got into him down the front stretch. He's trying to unlap himself, and he will right there. He's going to pass Damon Burnett. This is a strategy where I don't think it's going to work because the tires fall off so much, but they've kind of made their bet at this point. You're going to stay out this long. There's no point in not trying to make it a one-stop race. I don't like the call, but this is what it looks like they're going to do.
So Burnett continues to lead the way. Now you've got Brad Davies and Josh Berry back on the lead lap, among others. Byron Daly unlaps himself. Michael Johnson almost did right at the line, but it's Burnett, Rafferty, Warren, and Timmy Hill, the only 4 drivers who have not pitted. The leader of the cars who have pitted is the 38 of Ryan Lowe in 5th, but he's 27 seconds behind these guys out in front right now, and I just don't know, Andy. It's puzzling, and I'm not buying that it's going to work.
It's going to be, listen, it's all going to shake out. We saw it happen at Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and it's just going to all have to shake out towards the end and see what happens and see if some of these guys will be able to catch them once their strategies fall into place. But it looks like after everybody pits, it's actually going to shake out to Ryan Lowe leading this thing. Him and Cody Bias were the first 2 to come down pit road, and those 2 guys right now have about a 2-second lead over Mitchell Hunt and Gilliland, and actually Dylan Jones right there also doing a good job. He pitted a little bit early also, and he's going to find himself up there and probably close to a top 5 spot. So when those top 4 guys finally do come down to pit road, it'll be interesting to see how everybody's strategy really shakes out and who actually made the right call.
Brian, you're saying, you're looking at both of us and saying you think it's going to work. Why?
Well, I was just looking at it, and based off of what we've seen these drivers do throughout the entire races, they're coming to pit road every 30 laps and coming in and getting 4 fresh tires. Well, all these guys that are staying out here are going to have to do is stretch it for another 20, and they'll be back on the same strategy as these guys. And right now, they have about a 15-second lead. Actually, your race leaders still have about a 21-second lead over the guys on fresh tires. So they can hang on to this for probably another 10 to 15 laps. If they stretch it to lap 90, they're still going to be in front of these guys. And then they're going to come to pit road and get tires for what should be the final time. And they're going to be back on sequence with these guys. So at first I wasn't sure about this call, but after doing a little bit more research on it, this might actually work for these 4 drivers that are staying out here. I don't know that it's going to win them the race, but it's certainly going to get them a good finish.
Research and math, right, Macklin?
Yeah, pretty much. Research and math. And it just took me a little bit, but I figured it out.
We're burning up the calculators here. 82 laps in the record books. Damon Burnett, Dylan Rafferty, Alex Warren, Timmy Hill, your top 4. Ryan Lowe, 20 seconds back in 5th. Then it's Adam Gilliland, Mitchell Hunt, Cody Bias, Dylan Jones, and Brad Davies in 10th. Make that Brad Davies in 7th as this group cycles through. Before too long, Davies is going to be leading this train and out for blood, trying to get back there, Andy.
Yeah, he is. Obviously, the fresh tires making up some ground for him. He had such a big lead on these guys like Ryan Lowe and Adam Gilliland that it was able to work out in his favor currently right now. About a second behind those guys. That would be the essential battle for the lead once the top 4 do finally come down pit road. So Brad Davies, for him, it definitely hasn't hurt him at all. It's actually now half a second for him to get up back in front of Ryan Lowe. So we take a look at these guys battling on the racetrack. A pretty good battle right there to 91, the lap car right there in the mix here. Davies now looking to the inside of the 38 of Ryan Lowe, trying to take that position away from Gilliland. A couple cars in front of Brad Davies, but he's definitely got the speed right now off turn number 4. Ooh, 1 car into the wall right there. That's a 92 machine of, somehow I'll find it, Jeff Ramsdale there. Got into the wall there off of turn number 4. Luckily able to hang on to that and didn't cause anybody really to check up behind him. So Brad Davies still making up some ground. He's got the 8 right in front of him. That would be the essential battle for the lead here.
The problem is it's still 15 seconds behind Damon Burnett, who continues to cycle out in front with 85 laps going up on the board when they get back to the stripe. And I'm really impressed at how well that Burnett has actually been able to manage what these guys have been able to cut out of the lead. I figured it'd be 2.5 seconds a lap, Brian, and instead they've been able to hold it between a second and a second and a half.
Yeah, and actually right now we're seeing 2 of these drivers that have stayed out coming to pit road for what we assume will be their final pit stop. Alex Warren and Timmy Hill pitting from the 3rd and 4th position. They're coming to pit road to get 4 tires and fuel, and what we believe is going to be the final pit stop of the night. This is when we're going to find out, is this strategy going to work for these guys, or is it going to backfire? They're going to have the freshest tires on the racetrack now when they get back out on the track, and it might actually force these other guys to come to pit road. And now I'm hearing Damon Burnett and Dylan Rafferty are going to be the next cars coming to pit road on lap 86. Here they come down to pit road, your front 2 leaders who stayed out here for about 30 laps longer than we expected them to. They are all 4 now down on pit road to get 4 tires and fuel. And here comes Damon Burnett, Dylan Rafferty doing the same thing that Timmy Hill and Alex Warren did. This forced their hands when those 2 drivers came to pit road. They had no choice if they're going to make this strategy work. So now we're going to see, are these 4 drivers the smartest ones in town? And actually Damon Burnett just slid through his box. Or is this going to backfire and we still going to see the guys that we've seen all race back out up front?
So we continue to cycle under green flag conditions, and Brad Davies now out in front for the 4th time in this race. Burnett led a total of 13 laps in that exchange and is going to be wheel to wheel with Dylan Rafferty. Rafferty actually going to get the advantage off pit road as they start to cycle single file and blend back in, and Davies going to put them both a lap down right here along with Adam Gilliland, Josh Berry, so they've got some work to do.
Yeah, they got a little bit of work to do. Obviously, the fresh tires are going to give them the advantage currently right now as they sit. This strategy, though, the more as we look at it, the more as we try to process it up here, is it looks like it's going to be pretty close for one of those 4 guys to possibly pick up the win here. I know me and Brian were just talking about that, and it's kind of interesting. As long as these guys don't get too they got to have the patience right now currently, because their car is obviously going to be a lot faster than everybody else on the racetrack. So they're going to have to utilize that to their advantage, but at the same time not to overdrive their machines and put themselves in a situation where it may hurt them or may cause a caution.
So as we sit, Brad Davies, your race leader. Dylan Rafferty all over the back of him with fresh tires, looking to get back on the lead lap. 89 laps complete. So we have cycled now past the halfway point. Let's go ahead and walk you through our LSRTV midway race break and take a look at the full field rundown. We know it's going to change again, but at lap 90, Brad Davies, your race leader, ahead of Josh Berry. Adam Gilliland in the Gamerser Trucking entry up to 3rd. Dylan Jones 4th and Nick Furler 5th. Ryan Lowe in the 38 is 6th. Mitchell Hunt 7th. 8th is Byron Daly. 9th, Michael Johnson and Dylan Duvall up to the top 10 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, running right now currently in that 11th spot, the 90 of Nicholas Johnston. Logan Clampett right behind him in that 12th spot. 13th right now currently is the 51 of Tyler Laughlin. Joey Arelson in the 25 sits 14th. 15th right now is the 27 of Cody Bias. Jason Jacoby, haven't talked about him. He's sitting 16th right now. 17th on the racetrack, the 02 of Blake Bryant. 18th right now is the 6 of Trey Edson. 19th goes to Joshua Lawton. And Justin Tromley in the 17 right now runs out the top 20.
21st goes to Ryan Borges. Rob Ackley is sitting in the 22nd position. Kyle Putz is 23rd. Greg McKinney is 24th. Brandon Hoff is 25th. David Rattler is 26th. Andrew Fage, the driver that brought out the first caution of the day, he still sits back there in the 27th position. Thomas Davis is 28th. Brandon Schmidt, who actually just came to pit road, is 29th. And rounding out the top 30, Shane Daltrey.
Behind Daughtry, 31st, and actually check that. Dylan Rafferty just moving up to the 30th position. Damon Burnett now 31st. Alex Warren is 32nd. 33rd, one lap down, Timmy Hill. Jeff Ramsdell 34th, and Brandon Schmidt going to cycle through to 36th now. Robin Williams is 35th. 37th, Alan Bowes, 17 laps down after he dropped out of the sim. And Jacob Harbert, shotgun on the field, same issue for him. 38th. 45 laps down and out of this one with 93 laps complete. That's a look at your full field rundown powered by iRacing.com, the world leader in motorsport simulation. And with Rafferty now up to 29th and climbing, he's chewing into the race lead held by the 11 of Brad Davies, Josh Berry, Adam Gilliland, Nick Furler, Byron Daly, the top 5 with now 94 of 167 complete. And in the midst of a continued green flag run, we're going to go back in the field. About 7th, Logan Clampett, the 44, at the head of a good battle from 7th through 11th. Clampett, the 81 of Mitchell Hunt, the 90 of Nicholas Johnston, Ryan Lowe's 38, and the 39 of Michael Johnson, but it's Clampett that heads that train.
Yeah, Clampett doing a good job here on the strategy that he's running right now, sitting in that 6th spot. He's got Dylan Jones. Dylan Jones having a pretty quiet season. He's one of those guys hovering around that 20th spot right now, so currently running for that 7th spot for Dylan Jones. That's a great run going on for him right now. And all these guys here, though, on that separate strategy, you'll be seeing them come down pit road probably in the next 10 or 15 laps or so. They've made the bed that they're laying in right now. So just in front of these guys, Byron Daly trying to make his way around some lap traffic. That's Jeff Ramsdale there on the outside. Clampett now able to close in on Byron Daly's back bumper. That's a battle right now for that 5th spot right off of turn number 2.
And as that battle continues to rage on, Brian just corrected me on my math. 134 laps in this race tonight, 200 miles. So we are actually closing in on the final 50 miles of this race, 96 laps complete. So that's going to make it now 38 laps to go for Brad Davies, who continues to hold on to the lead by about 3 seconds over Josh Berry. Gilliland, Furler, Daly still the top 5, and you've got Clampett, who's looking for position now. That's a side-by-side battle off turn 2.
Yeah, it's a pretty good battle right there. Clampett actually had to let off the throttle there as we got pit stops already starting to happen here. Some of the final stops for the guys that were on that other strategy are running about 30 or so laps, so coming in for their final pit stop, you'll start seeing some of these guys up towards the front of the field start to make their last stop on pit road. The 03 of Dylan Jones, Nicholas Johnson in the 90, Clampett in the 44. That's when you'll see these guys as Clampett now finally gets around Byron Daly for that 5th spot, trying to work his way now on Nick Furler. Nick Furler sitting in that 4th spot right now, a pretty good run. Finally was able to get back up towards the front of the field after having to start in the back, getting caught on that first round of green flag pit stops early in the race. So a pretty good rebound right there for the 55. But Logan Clampett, he's going to make little work of that right now as he pushes his way to that 4th spot in turn number 1.
Yeah, Clampett made a very nice move and almost brought Daly with him back to the 5th spot, and that's brought the 90 of Nick Johnston up into this mix as well, who is looking on Byron Daly for P5 now, and is going to make quick work of that number 93 machine. So Johnston, a bonsai move into turn 3, makes it stick, cracks now the 6th position, rather. So he cracks the top half dozen as Logan Clampett, can he parlay strategy into a solid run? We're still watching the guys who, no trouble, nearly around goes the 55 of Nick Furler in turn number 2. Looked like a little bit of contact between he and the 90 of Nick Johnston. They got together. Somehow Furler manages to save it. And there's the replay right now. I think that just woke us up as Logan Clampett going to be the first of many to come to pit road.
Yeah, it's going to bring the 55 Furley. He decided after that move right there, obviously he made the tires a little bit angry. Might as well, it's getting close to his pit stop. He's going to come down pit road this time here also. So Nick Furler going to come down pit road, get his tires. The 8 of Adam Gilliland, he's on pit road. We saw the 03 of Dylan Jones also already on pit road. So that round of pit stops is already starting to happen. That's going to start shuffling things around a lot now, and that's going to start putting your guys like Alex Warren and Timmy Hill and Damon Burnett. You're going to start seeing those guys really start to climb the standings now. Obviously made the bed that they were in, and they're going to put themselves up into that top 4 positions that they were running in about 20 laps ago. So we'll see how the strategy starts to play out. But after these guys make their rounds of pit stop, that's when we're going to really start to be able to calculate and really get those calculators burning and smoking and trying to figure out if these guys have enough time to catch those guys like Dylan Rafferty.
Okay, you're seeing it to play out now, Brian. Is it going to work for Dylan Rafferty?
I do believe it's going to. He's really cutting this lead down, and he's taking his time. He's not running the car very hard, and he's making up a lot of time. And Brad Davies is going to have to come back to pit road. He's not going to make it on fuel. I don't believe he can stretch it from where he last pitted to the end of this race. If he can, it's going to be extremely close. And actually, here he comes. He's coming to pit road right now. Brad Davies is coming down. He's going to give up the race lead, and he's going to get his 4 tires in fuel for the final time here tonight. And actually, he may not even give up the race lead. It looks like everybody else behind him has already come to pit road. So this is when we're going to see Dylan Rafferty move to the point. But he is in a hornet's nest right now. He's being passed by a mess of drivers on fresh tires. Trey Edson is there. We've got the number 25 there. We've got Joshua Lofton there. They're all trying to get around him as he is now on the older tires on this track. And now he's going to have to go on defense for the rest of this race. He's going to have to play defense and hope that he doesn't get caught up in a wreck.
So that hands the lead back to the 46 of Dylan Rafferty, who, as we said, in the middle of a mess, was almost 3 wide a moment ago. He's got Josh Lawton, Ryan Borges working with him right here, and Rafferty lets him go, holds, and is going to move into the top position with 30 laps to go. 104 of 134 complete this time by. This may be, we're going to find out whether it's the strategy that wins a race or will not win the race. Right now, though, it's Rafferty, Burnett, Warren, Andrew Fash, Timmy Hill, the top 5, and with 30 to go, we're going to take our final commercial break here tonight. Come back for the finish on iRacing Live and LSRTV from Kentucky Speedway. Dylan Rafferty leading the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, powered by iRacing.com, and you're watching it on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing Live, coverage around 7 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series 2015-2016 season, and a tire war going to be the deciding factor in tonight's race here in the Bluegrass State. Dylan Rafferty leading on older tires, while Brad Davies, the race-long challenger and pole sitter, trying to cut into the gap and get back to that number 1 grid position before the checkered flag. He's 14 seconds back of Rafferty as they run. And one more time, we welcome you into the broadcast tower. Jacob Seelman alongside Andy Kessler and Brian Macklin. And Brian, you said for a while it was going to work. I know now you're not sure it's going to work. It's down to 13 seconds. We're down to 24 laps to go. If you're Dylan Rafferty, do you want a caution here in the next 7 to 10 laps to reset everybody and go and race it out to the finish?
I think if you're Dylan Rafferty, it's going to benefit you if a caution comes out. Looking at it here, Brad Davies, since he came to pit road, has already made up almost 10 full seconds off of the 20-second gap that he had, and he's still got over 20 laps left to get there. So there's no doubt in my mind at this point, Brad Davies is going to get to Dylan Rafferty. But if a caution comes out, it's going to shake everything up. And for Dylan, if he's going to get a caution, he wants it to happen before Brad Davies is able to start passing these other guys that have done this strategy with him. He's going to want to keep Brad Davies back around that 5th position. He doesn't want him getting any closer. He wants to make it as hard on Davies as possible if they get a caution for him to get back up to the front. So if he's going to get one, he's going to need it probably in the next 3 or 4 laps, because here in the next 3 or 4 laps, he's going to start passing these guys. He's going to get up to Timmy Hill. He's going to get up to Alex Warren, and he's going to start making up those positions. So he's running out of time for a caution to actually benefit him. If Davies gets past those drivers, then he just needs it to stay green in hopes that maybe he can hang on to it.
Caution flag is out. There it is, Brian.
Yep, caution is out. Trey Edson was actually one of the drivers that was involved. It looks like the number 3 of Brandon Schmidt was actually around before him. The 42 was also around on the front straightaway, and Trey Edson had absolutely nowhere to go and just ran right into the back of him. It looks like Brandon Schmidt got into the wall off turn 2, and Dylan Duval had nowhere to go. He got collected, spun down into the inside wall, and then Trey Edson just piled in late, and that brings out a caution. And this is going to be huge. This should bring everybody down to pit road for one final time, one more set of tires, and it's going to make for a heck of a finish here.
So caution on the back straightaway brings it out for just the second time at lap 113. That gave us 21 laps to go, and it's a whole new ball game now, Andy. This is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Davies really crunching into that lead, but I really think Rafferty would have loved to seen this thing go green and, take your chances on having such a huge cushion that maybe be able to sneak this one out of here. But now that you got to reset everything, everybody's going to probably come down, get their 4 tires of fuel. I don't think you'll see anybody really try to gamble and stay out on this one. But now that you do this, now you put you're all in the same boat now with four fresh tires, and that's going to change everything up, because Brad Davies was definitely the fastest car on the racetrack when everybody had 4 tires. So not sure he really wanted the caution, but if it was going to happen, it might as well happen now, as everybody's going to head down pit road.
Everybody to the pit lane for the final time. Brian, the question's going to be who can win that race off and who makes the money stop count.
Yep, Dylan Rafferty had an actual pretty nice advantage over the rest of the field. He had several lap cars between him and the 3rd place car, so he's going to have an easy race off of pit road. The only competition he's going to have is going to be Damon Burnett. He got his 4 tires. He's down and away, and now we're looking down pit road to see if anybody's going to gamble on 2. I've not seen anybody yet that's going to try it, and it looks like Dylan Rafferty is going to win the race off pit road. Alex Warren's going to come out right behind him. A very easy victory for Dylan Rafferty. Timmy Hill's going to come out 3rd, and then it's a little bit of a battle back there. Josh Berry and Brad Davies with a hard-fought battle off pit road. Looks like Josh Berry wins that race with Adam Gilliland right behind them.
We're going to go LSRTV nonstop, slide in one more break before it gets fun here from Kentucky Speedway. Hang with us. Dylan Rafferty going to be the leader when it all is said and done. We'll be back with more of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series right after this from Kentucky Speedway. You're watching Live Sim Racing TV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We are 1 lap to green, and when we go back racing, we're going to have 17 laps to settle it, and a beautifully played strategy for Dylan Rafferty. Alex Warren and Timmy Hill has left them out in front of this field over some of the race-long contenders. Josh Berry, Brad Davies, Adam Gilliland, Logan Clampett, all the challengers at this point. We only saw our second caution of the night moments ago, Brian. My question is, have we seen the last one?
Absolutely not. We're about to see mayhem, and you're going to see these guys racing harder than they've raced all night long, and I don't believe we've seen the last caution. I think we've seen the first of many.
2 cautions in the first 117 laps, maybe a few more before we get it done. Dylan Rafferty and Alex Warren going to restart this field on the front row. Warren actually right where he started on the initial green flag. Pace car's gone. Rafferty says, let's go. Green flag flies, and Brad Davies doesn't get a good restart. Josh Berry, though, almost shoving Alex Warren down towards turn number 1. Warren's going to get clear. Berry not so lucky.
No, not so lucky. Almost made it 3 wide there. Now he's got to contend with Timmy Hill on the inside. We got caution on the speedway. It looks like around 40 of Joshua Lawton. He was involved in that one, but tough break. There we go. First caution right off the restart there. Trouble in turn number 1.
That was an issue with the lag on the number 12 machine of Kyle Putz. It looked like he started warping out going off into turn 1, and when he came back, he was in the door of the 40. Not really anything that Joshua Lofton could have done. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or at the right time in that situation, and unfortunately for him, it's going to ruin his race and take him from what was a potentially decent finish back to what's probably not going to be all that great at all. So the first of what I predict to be many cautions, and that's going to help all these guys that are up front that don't necessarily have the speed that we've seen Brad Davies had. Dylan Rafferty, Alex Warren, Josh Berry, Timmy Hill, these guys have all been up here, but they have not had the speed that we've seen Brad Davies had. We've had 10 lead changes throughout this race so far, and I'm not sure if we've seen the last one or not, but we're certainly going to have a lot of fun.
No, and as we continue to circulate now under the 3rd caution flag of the night, we'll give you a look at that top 5 unchanged from the restart, save for 1. Josh Berry able to escape from the outside lane, moves around Timmy Hill for the 3rd position, and that could present, Andy, some trouble for Dylan Rafferty on the restart, because Berry on your back bumper, I'm nervous.
Yeah, especially coming off the win a couple weeks ago at Atlanta, so Josh Berry just trying to make this late season surge, trying to get himself in contention for the championship, having the win at Atlanta. Now, somewhat similar track like we've talked about all night long as far as tire wear goes, and length is, but obviously the banking a little bit different. But 2 similar tracks to here in Atlanta, and Josh Berry definitely flexing his muscle late in the race. But that's probably one guy you don't want to see in there. The only good part for Dylan Rafferty is he gets to control the restart. So if he can throw a curveball to these guys and really get a good jump on the restart, it might help them.
And as they run, keep in mind this isn't factoring drops in, but as they run, I believe Josh Berry would actually take over the points lead through 7 races from Alan Bowes because of the problems that the 21 had earlier tonight. So if Berry can hang on to this, Brian, it could be a huge night for the junior motorsports driver.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly will be a huge night for Josh Berry, but you also have to remember, as you mentioned, there is going to be a drop week, which is going to save Alan Bowes really big here. He had a bad night at Atlanta a couple weeks ago before the holidays, and he's having another bad night here. This is going to be the worst of those 2 nights. He's certainly going to have to use his drop week here. Fortunately for him, other than these 2 races, he's had a pretty much perfect season so far. I don't think you can really play out the year that he's had any better other than not having the issues he's had tonight and 2 weeks ago at Atlanta. So he's still sitting in a really good position, still more than likely going to be the points leader after the drop weeks, and certainly still the favorite for the championship going into the last 2 weeks. But that certainly helps Josh Berry's chances as well, because he's had a couple of really strong weeks. Of course, he won 2 weeks ago at Atlanta, as Andy mentioned, so he's certainly on the upswing and could make a challenge for this championship in the last few weeks.
So as we get ready to restack it and re-rack it here, Rafferty and Warren going to restart again on the front row, but we'll have only 12 laps to decide it. when we go back green flag racing. The restart going to come with 122 laps of 134 complete. Andy, if I made you pick now, who are you taking and why?
I like the control car, being the control car in the restart, Dylan Rafferty, and obviously if we can run about 5, 6, 7 laps and then have another caution, obviously that ends the race. So obviously at this point of the race, you always want to think that the guy in control would be that leader. But at this, especially on the strategy they're all on the same set of tires. So I definitely like the at least give him a good benefit of the doubt right there for Rafferty. Had a couple good runs early on the season. Obviously, the win would be a definite boost for him in confidence to close out this season.
Brian, I'll pose the same question to you.
I'm going to go with Josh Berry. I like how fast his car has been all night. He's been one of the front runners most of this race, and now he's in the best position. I definitely think he's got a better car than Dylan Rafferty and Alex Warren, and if they don't have a quick caution and he's actually able to get into a run here, granted it's only 12 laps, I think it's enough time for him to get by both those guys and take a shot at it. The issue is he's going to have Brad Davies starting right behind him, and if Brad Davies can get a good restart, I think he could be right up there in the mix too. We certainly know he's had the best car all night, so it's going to be very interesting. And Jacob, we're going to let you take the final pick. Who's going to win this thing if it's your call?
It's a tough bet, but I'll be honest, I like Josh Berry as well. I think if Brad Davies could get clear to third and maybe use Berry to help him get around Rafferty, maybe, but I like the fact that Berry's established himself ahead of the 11. I think that's going to be the difference. I think 88-11 finished 1-2 tonight. Pace car's gone. 12 laps to settle it. Dylan Rafferty looking for his first career Pro Series win. Field stacks up behind. Green flag flies, and we're on the move. Rafferty away by 3 car lengths. Josh Berry already going for the second position. Davies wants third from Alex Warren. He's going to have it by the time they get off turn 2.
Yeah, and that's the second time in a row that the 82 has really stacked up the field on the restart. That's going to really hurt the one of Timmy Hill. He's now fallen back into that 5th position right now. He's got Adam Gilliland, though, to his inside now, trying to take that position away. As the top 4 now, single file, it's a battle for the 5th spot off turn number 4.
That battle from 5th on back is going to be chaotic, but the battle for the lead is what we're watching. Berry closes down in that 88 on the 46 of Rafferty. It's a car length in turn 1. Dylan Rafferty hasn't had to drive defensive all race. He's having to do it right now for a win, his first in the Pro Series. If he can hold on for another 10 laps, they're almost 3 wide going into turn 3 behind him.
Big wreck off turn 4. Adam Gilliland involved, the number 90 involved, Tyler Laughlin involved. Huge wreck back here. Once again, bringing out another caution. More cars starting to pile in. Just an absolutely humongous wreck here on lap number 124. This looks like it began with the number 8 machine and the 44 of Logan Clampett. Logan went to make it 3 wide. He was down on the bottom of the racetrack, almost went below the yellow line, and they made contact. That sent everybody around. You see the replay here. Adam Gilliland actually straightened the car out and almost was clear of the wreck, and then he got hit by a car that got hooked up into the wall. And this is at least an 8 or 9 car pileup. We'll have to get an official count. I'll actually work on that here in just a second, and we'll get back to you on that.
Yellow now with what's going to be 9 laps to go when they come back. Line caution coming out at lap 124. And, well, Rafferty, Berry, Davies, 1, 2, 3. Andy, I think I'm changing my theory a little bit here. Brad Davies just got himself a nice little shot at a win.
Yeah, he definitely did. I guess the official number is about 10 cars involved in that wreck right there. But yeah, gosh, with that caution, obviously putting Brad Davies in a pretty good spot there. Going to restart in that 3rd spot. It's going to be all about the restart, though, if he's going to be able to contend with Josh Berry. Berry's going to have to pretty much time this thing outright just perfect with Dylan Rafferty if he wants a chance to drop back in line there in that 2nd spot to maybe even battle for the win. But Davies is in a pretty good start. You always say if you can't beat a leader, you definitely want to be that guy in that 3rd spot. And as long as you can time the restart with the 46th, then that's all going to be pretty much how it's going to be played out here, is who can get the good jump and really time it just right with Dylan.
All right, so now it gets really, really fun. Rafferty is still looking for that first career series win, Brian, and it means so much if you can pull it off. I think it'll mean a little bit more knowing the two guys that are directly behind him. If he wins this race, holds on to do it tonight, he can say, I beat the best of the best in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never had the opportunity to run in this series or even be in a position to win in this series, so I can't understand exactly what they're going through. But I've been in some really big races and raced against several of these drivers and actually had the opportunity to beat a couple of these guys. And it is amazing the feeling you get when you're able to compete with these guys. And when you're able to beat them, it makes you feel that much better about yourself. It's going to bring his confidence level way up. It's going to help him through the next 2 weeks, and it's certainly going to help him going into the Peak Antifreeze series. It's amazing how much one victory like this can do for your confidence and can do for the progress of your team. And I certainly like what this is going to do for the 46 machine, but we're not going to hand this win to him yet. He's still going to have to work for it on at least one more restart. I don't believe they're going to have any more than one more restart, but he's certainly going to have his hands full here. Brad Davies starting in the 3rd position now. He's in the catbird seat, if you ask me, to have a shot at this. As Andy said, if he times the restart right and can stay with the 46 in the turn 1, I think Brad Davies is going to be the man to beat, and Dylan Rafferty is going to have his hands full if he's going to hold him off.
Now, what about this too, Brian? As far as the driving sense goes, and like you said, you've been in some big races yourself. The pressure that the 46 has got to be feeling right now is just immense. I mean, you're in a position right now. If it stays green where he was, he had a pretty decent lead. That to hang on to this thing, probably a little bit less pressure. Now all these restart after restart after restart. For him, it's got the pressure's on for him to be perfect on the restart, not to miss a gear, not to, do anything, out of the ordinary, I guess to say, as far as getting this thing right to have the opportunity to get the win.
Oh, absolutely. His heart is racing right now. I've been in this position in the NIS series racing against these guys and trying to hold them off, and your heart is pounding. You can't stop thinking about making mistakes. You're worried that you're going to miss a gear, as you said. You're worried that you're going to spin the tires on the restart. You're worried that you're going to overdrive the corner. There's so many things that are going through your mind in this moment, and every time you get another caution, it makes you worry that much more. It makes you feel that much more anxiety. It just makes you just go absolutely crazy inside of the car. You just want it to be over with. You don't want to have to go through another restart. You don't want to have to go through that whole process again of getting up to speed and trying not to miss a shift or spin your tires or overdrive the corner. You just want it to be done and over with, and it's mind-boggling, I can tell you that much.
Well, you guys might want to get your minds unboggled here because we're getting ready to go green, and we're going to have 6 laps to settle it. The only way we get another restart is if we have a caution on this first lap, and it would give us time for a 1-lap shootout. In the meantime, though, Dylan Rafferty would like to see 1 lap go green, him out front, and then a caution. It would freeze the field and give him his first career Pro Series victory. Right now, though, still time to settle it. Pace car's gone, potentially for the final time. Dylan Rafferty on the loud pedal. Green flag flies. Brad Davies doesn't go. It's going to make it a 2-man shootout, I think. Rafferty versus Barry for the win. Everybody headed for turn 1.
Not quite the restart that Barry wanted. He wanted to be closer to Rafferty, but it definitely gave him an opportunity because he was able to beat Brad Davies now on that restart. Puts him there, top 3 there, single file. Look at the 1 car back into the mix. That's Timmy Hill now looking for that 4th spot on turn number 3. Looks like he's going to have it now. Maybe he can get another spot or 2. But off turn number 4, here comes the 88, starting to close the gap. 2 car lengths now to Dylan Rafferty.
Caution flag flies, 129 go in the books, and that may do it. I'm going to do very quick math in my head here, guys. If they count the caution at 129, it would give us a 1-lap dash. It all depends. That's what it depends on. Rafferty may have won this race. I won't buy it, though, until we get to 2 to go and the lights don't go out. Holy cow.
I'm telling you, as we look at the replay of what happened, and I'm just telling you, man, if it can't get any worse for the anxiety that Brian was talking about, this is definitely, you know he wants to see these lights stay on this race car right now at this point. He's done everything right these last 3 restarts, getting himself in that position and staying up front and not really having to contend with these guys right off the bat. So, gosh, for Dylan Rafferty, I'm sure he would love for this thing not to go back green at this point.
So a caution off turn number 4 leaves us kind of uncertain at the moment. If the lights stay on when we get to the 2 to go mark, we don't go back green. If they go off, Rafferty with time for a 1-lap shootout, we're actually going to wait in the wings for a minute and go LSRTV nonstop. We'll come back and lay out the scenario here for you in just a couple of minutes. From Kentucky Speedway, you're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV. We're circulating lap 132 of 134 and kind of waiting in the wings. We think, based on the math skills of this booth, which I know occasionally guys leave something to be desired, that we're going to see a 1-lap dash. Survey says we will. Oh boy. I called it right for a change. Normally I'm wrong on these little splits, but I got it right this time. So, master prognosticators that both of you are, now what?
Well, the green and the white at the same time. Like I said, I was talking to you guys just a second ago into the whisper. I still think the 46 has the advantage just because he can dictate when to go here on this restart. So, we've seen it the last 3 or 4 restarts that he was at least able to lead that first lap on each restart. So, I really think he still has the advantage, but man, this is just something else. This is unbelievable for him. I just hope he pulls it off. That's all.
If you're Dylan Rafferty, you really couldn't script. If you're gonna win this race, I don't know that you could script it any better than what you're about to see right here. This is about to be fun. That's all I know. Rafferty and Barry on the front row. Then it's Davies and Hill on row 2. Warren, Clampett, Lowe, and Hunt, the rest of your front 4 rows, as the pace car going to go away, at least pull off the racetrack for the final time. Field in the hands of Dylan Rafferty. Green and white coming together. Rafferty goes when they get to the flag. The race is on. 1 car around into the infield. Ryan Lowe goes sideways. We're racing it home, though.
That we are, and going into turn number 1, this is about the closest Josh Berry has been on a restart over the past few of them that we've had. Off of turn number 2, the gap right there, about 1.5 car lengths, and closing now as they head back into turn number 3 for the final time.
Yeah, Josh Berry going to be close, but I don't think he's going to get there. How about this? Off turn 4, Berry looks to the inside. Rafferty gets a little loose. He can't get there, though. Dylan Rafferty, for the first time in his NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series career, wins it at Kentucky by 72 one-thousandths of a second. Josh Berry had one final look at it, could not make it happen. Davies, Hill, and Clamp at the top 5. Rafferty, a Pro Series winner, finally.
Unbelievable. Just a big congratulations to Dylan Rafferty. He played it right all race long. The strategy, it looked like it might not have worked for him, and in the end it did. He just had to sweat it out there for a few restarts, but congratulations to Dylan.
Biggest win, arguably, of his sim racing career, and in all, he led 30 of the final 31 laps of this race en route to victory. Led the race 2 times for 31 laps and now celebrates on the front straightaway. Dylan Rafferty, your winner in the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series here from Kentucky. We'll hear from him, Barry, Davies, when we come back from Kentucky Speedway. The LSRTV post-race show is next, and you're watching Live Sim Racing TV, the voice of sim racing.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone has just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warriors Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big-name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
Welcome back to LSRTV, the voice of sim racing, kicking off tonight's post-race show. And boy, it was a fun one. Dylan Rafferty hanging on for his first career Pro Series victory in a wild finish that sees him edge Josh Berry by just a scotch. But we're going to go down pit side and kick things off with Andy Kessler. Clamp Nation is celebrating tonight, my friend. The 44 Logan Clamp at a top 5 finish and had a really good race car tonight.
Yeah, I am down here with the driver of the number 44 Chevy SS, Logan Clampett, and he had a solid run here over the course of the race. Started in the 10th position, ends up coming home in that 5th spot here. Logan Clampett, man, what an interesting race. A lot of green flag racing, and then ultimately at the end there, we had a bunch of cautions to really shake things up.
Yeah. I don't know what happened between me and Adam there, but I really think that was his fault. He completely came across my nose there. I was holding my line in the second lane, so that shouldn't be my fault. If it is, then there's something really wrong with that. But it was a pretty good race overall. Had a top 5 car, maybe winning car, but it was really good on a long run.
Talk about the different strategies we had in the race. A bunch of guys deciding somewhere around lap 30 to 35 they were going to come down, and then about halfway through that race, we saw a few of the guys decide to really stretch it out, and it looked like it was going to be interesting to see if they were going to be able to hang on to the sizable lead they had, but then ultimately we had that caution come out, which really then put everybody on the same strategy with the 4 tires. But for yourself, to have a run like this at the top 5, especially when you're sitting around that 20th spot there, around that bubble spot, trying to get into the peak series, what does this do for you and the confidence of you guys running, coming up with only 2 weeks left?
There's definitely a lot of confidence heading into Richmond and Daytona, but I think we can do it. Hopefully I don't get incident points for that wreck, or else that would cost me a lot. But lots of confidence. Really good team. Lingert, Bose, Houston. Thank you all of them for, helping out with the setup and getting it all adjusted. It was just riding on rail tracks, and Dan Roper for spotting, JDR Graphics, Ascourse, Dead Zone, Dragon Tech, and Checker Flag Interactive.
Well, you talk about a total different thing. It seems like we've been on these 1.5 mile tracks over probably the last 2 months now. We finally go to a short track next week in Richmond. Size up that place for you, and how do you like your chances having to really get on the brakes next week?
I really like it. I kind of like Richmond. I used to hate it, but I've gotten used to it. I think we can pull out a top 10 there. I want to have a decent gap over 20th heading into Daytona so I can just go all out.
Well, we like the chances of that, and we wish you the best on making it into the Peak Antifreeze Series. Obviously, 2 weeks left to go. You mentioned a bunch of the guys. I'm sure there's somebody else you might not have mentioned, but who else gets it done for you here?
Just regulars, JDR Graphics, Ascourse, Dead Zone. They work a lot on the setup, and we work a lot of hours to get it to where it's at and where we are at, so thank you to all of them.
Well, there you have it. All that hard work has paid off. A 5th place finish here tonight at Kentucky for Logan Clampett, and we'll send it down to Brian Macklin. I believe he's caught up with the 1 car of Tim Hill.
Yeah, I'm catching up with a driver who has participated in all 3 of NASCAR's Premier Series, driver the number 1, Timmy Hill. Timmy, you came home in the 4th position tonight. You had a differing strategy from most of the field. You and 3 other drivers elected to stay out when everybody else came to pit road to get 4 fresh tires. Take us through your mindset taking that strategy versus going down the pit road with everybody else.
Well, my strategy was very easy for me to decide. The last race we were at, Atlanta, I was the guy that took that 1 extra pit stop from everybody else, and yet when we were on track, passing everybody with faster speeds, that 1 extra pit stop cost us a lot of time, and it ultimately ended up not working out for me, putting me back, I think, at 21st position. So going into this race, I had the similar position with 90 laps remaining. I told myself I'm not going to do that 1 extra pit stop. I'm going to do the 1 stop strategy, and before that last caution that force everybody to the pit, I think it was still going to work out for me. Regardless, that last caution fell, and it led to multiple cautions in the race. But ultimately, I think it was a great strategy. It worked out for me. Glad I can do it. My whole mindset this whole season was to just be smart, just get good finishes. This is the Pro Series, but ultimately, I think we all want to race in the Peak Series next season. So these good finishes are what really matter, and that's what I guess that's what went through my mind on that deal.
And obviously, with 2 weeks left in the Pro Series, you're sitting pretty good coming into tonight. You were 13th in the points, and next week is Richmond. How do you feel about Richmond, and do you think you can get a victory there?
You know, I really think I can. Richmond is one of my favorite racetracks on the service, and I find myself running a lot in the C6 series and the B6, really all three cars between the Cup truck and the Xfinity cars on the service. But nonetheless, Richmond is one of my favorite racetracks. It puts on great racing, especially in this Pro Series. So, no doubt, I think I can go to Richmond and win that race. And Daytona is another good one for me. I've had a lot of success at Daytona in the real life racing, and nonetheless, same thing on iRacing. But these last two races, I think I have a good shot to win both.
All right, and we certainly look forward to seeing you try to win both of those races. You look like you're in a pretty good position to make the Peak Antifreeze Series for this year coming up. How do you feel about going into that series? Obviously, you're not locked in yet, but you're looking pretty good. Do you think you're going to have anything for those guys as far as the championship is concerned?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm coming to learn a lot about these setups on iRacing. Typically I find myself in the fixed races. I just kind of jump in the races and go run. But this whole Pro Series has kind of forced me to try to learn the setups a little more on the service. Even though we work on setups in the real life stuff, they're a little bit different here online. So just a little bit of a learning curve. I'm getting my feet wet in it. But nonetheless, Adam Goodland and Trey Edston are our two main setup builders on this team, along with Alex Warren, and they've done a great job of building setups all season long, and hopefully we can build some good ones here for the Peak Series as well.
All right, and we look forward to seeing you try to do that. Real quick before we let you go, just want to give you a chance to say thank you to your sponsors and any friends or family that might have been watching, all your teammates and everything.
Yeah, sure can. Like I said, I want to thank the guys at Aftermath Motorsports for, again, supporting me with a good setup. Unfortunately, two of my teammates, Adam Goodland and Trey Edston, got involved in a few incidents and kind of hurt their runs and hurt their championship points, and they're in a bind for the last couple of races. But I run my own website on my car, timmyhill.com. If you're looking for any updates as far as my racing, go visit that website. And then Lily Trucking, they've been a big supporter of me. I run them on the quarter panels as well. But nonetheless, I want to thank all the guys that raced tonight. We had a good race, had a lot of green flag racing, and ultimately it's a lot of fun. And I also want to thank you guys for a great broadcast. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. And you put on the show for us, and we appreciate you guys doing that down there on the racetrack. We look forward to seeing what you have planned for the 2016 season in real life and on iRacing. That is driver the number 1, Timmy Hill, finishes 4th tonight here at the Kentucky Speedway. Now we're going to catch up with Alan Bowes, who had a very rough night. He came into the night with the points lead. It looks like he's still going to be the points leader coming out. And Andy, you have a lot to say to that man.
Yeah, we do. Alan Bowes here with me. Thanks for sticking around anyway for this. Obviously, the finishing position you didn't want to have, especially coming off a rough race a couple weeks ago, right before the holidays at Atlanta. Talk about this. I mean, you guys go from the, I guess the high of highs, not finishing outside the top 3 in some 6 races or 5 races in a row, and a couple wins mixed into there, and all of a sudden the last couple of races having some much unwanted difficulty.
Yeah, tonight was pretty difficult. We had an extremely fast Toyota Camry. It was definitely one that could have easily won the race. Had the speed for pretty much the entire run, but circumstances like this, you got to take it and move on. But it definitely sucks that instead of potentially gapping second place in points that I lost it. Now 16 points behind. So we got a slight hole to dig out of, but I'm confident in Dead Zone Racing that we can pull it back out and try to win the championship.
Well, obviously the amount of momentum that you guys have had in the first half of the season, obviously circumstances out of your control over the last couple of races. It really, knowing how fast your car has been, even though it was early on in this race, you still got to look, I guess, at the positives when you have a race like this, and try to now move ahead and now focus yourself on a short track now as we head to Richmond next week. Obviously, a whole bunch of mile and a half we've been running so far this first part of the season, and now we can get to the short tracks and get in there and really start digging and clawing at things and size up that track for you. And as far as your driving style, does Richmond fit into that? Do you feel that you guys will have a car that will compete next week?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've always loved Richmond. It's always been one of my better short tracks. As far as setup wise, I know we'll easily have one of the better setups of the week. It's going to be trying to maintain a decent track position and just trying to avoid trouble. And hopefully next week my internet will not drop me out of the server. But yeah, I gotta thank my sponsors. I gotta thank Drac and Tech, RAR Chevette. I gotta thank everybody at Dead Zone, Dustin Linger, Blake Bryant, Ian Plash for spotting. You know, they do a great job. And it sucks that with the car that they put together this week that we couldn't get the result that I think that we deserved.
Well, with that being said, we know that you guys will battle back hard next week and get some of these points back that you guys lost here over the last couple of weeks. And we know that we'll see your car up front there and battling for this championship the rest of the season with 2 weeks to go. So with that said, obviously a little bit dejected, but overall, we know you'll get it done next week, and we'll look forward to seeing that at Richmond.
Yep, we may be down, but we're not out yet.
That's what we like to hear. There's Alan Bowes, the driver of the number 21 Toyota Camry. And with that being said, we're going to send it down now to our victory lane now with Dill. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, runner-up Josh Berry. I forgot about him, Brian. We can't forget about that 88 after a big win at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. And now he's sitting here in the second place finish, and now our potential points leader also.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the updated standings. Josh Berry, with the drop being counted, is the new points leader going into the last 2 weeks in the Pro Series. Josh, talk about your night tonight, trying to battle through the different strategies that so many different drivers were employing here tonight and trying to get back up to the front and give yourself a chance to win the race.
Yeah, overall, it was a good run for me. I was a little disappointed with how qualifying went, and then the very first caution kind of caught me because I was on pit road, so I lost a lot of track position and kind of found myself fighting back from that. But how the pit sequence worked out, I actually gained a good bit back the next stop somehow and found myself in second. And Brad Davies had the best car for sure there, and he was going to win if it stayed green, and I felt pretty confident that I was going to finish second. So we ended up second, where I felt like I was going to finish regardless. So that was a good night, and I hate to see Alan have trouble like that, but he's been good all year, and he'll battle back these next 2 races, I'm sure. I mean, it happens to all of us. I've seen it happen many times, so just looking forward to it, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously his misfortune is your fortune. With taking the points lead with 2 weeks left in this Pro Series, do you believe you can hang on to the points lead and take home the championship?
Yeah, I think I got the best shot out of anyone at this point. Next week is Richmond, and that's a good place for me. I think everybody knows what I'm capable of there. So the last race being Daytona, I mean, that's a crapshoot. It's still, you never know what could happen there. But the goal is just to have a good run at Richmond and put yourself in the position that you can hopefully survive Daytona and get a solid finish and hopefully do it. But it's not, I'm not too worried about it. It's just 2 more races for me, and just going to do my best in them, and we'll see how it shakes out.
And obviously you're pretty much a lock for the Peak Antifreeze Series. What can we expect out of Josh Berry in the Peak Antifreeze Series in 2016?
Hopefully I can go back to how I ran about 5 years ago. I've struggled the last couple of times, but I seem to get a good group of people around me now, and I feel like this field and how the iRacing services right now plays into my hands. With the tracks and the tire fall off and everything, I feel like it puts the driver more in the control of it, and I think that's benefited me. I mean, it wasn't a bit surprising to see me chasing Brad Davies there that whole race. I mean, That's how it's always been, really. So I think it's I feel like it'll be good, but you never know. I mean, it's going to be a lot tougher competition for sure. And I mean, the goal is just to stay in the series. I'd say for me, I'm not trying to win no championships or anything in it. I just want to have fun, and at this point, this has been a lot of fun this season, and hopefully these next few races will go good.
Amen to that. And I actually got confirmation just now. You are indeed locked into the 2016 Peak Antifreeze Series. You're the only driver that has managed to do that so far, so congratulations on that. Before we do let you go, I just want to give you an opportunity to say thank you to your sponsors and say hi to any friends or family back at home that might be watching.
Yeah, that's cool being locked in already. But I just want to thank Speedco. They've been a long time supporter of me and everybody at HPM for all their hard work. It was fun tonight. We had a good car. Just gotta focus on these next 2 weeks and say hi to anyone that's watching. My girlfriend was watching there for a while. She might have went to bed by now. But thank you guys for the awesome broadcast, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
All right, thank you, Josh. Congratulations on being locked into the Peak Antifreeze Series, and congratulations on your second place finish here tonight. That was driver the number 88 Speedco Chevrolet. Josh Berry comes home second place, and now we're going to move down to victory lane. Andy tried to jump the gun a few minutes ago, but now we're going to victory lane. And Jacob, this man has been waiting for a long time to celebrate this victory, and you've caught up with him down in Gatorade victory lane.
We made him wait a little while, but I think it's worth it in the end, and a surprising championship contender now with a victory as well. Dylan Rafferty uses a win, his first in the Pro Series, to move to third in the championship standings with 2 races to go. Dylan, let's talk about tonight first. You lead 30 of the last 31 and had to hold off Josh and the rest of the field on a 1-lap dash. I mean, what was going through your mind on that last restart? What were you thinking or telling yourself to try and hold on to it?
The car is really set up for long runs, and those last few stints, those restarts weren't in the liking. So I was just doing everything I could to hold my line while the car just kept trying to push up and up. Just had to keep it down and make sure Josh couldn't get a run, and the cautions just played on my side.
It works out. I know they say sometimes you got to catch the breaks and win them how you can. How sweet is this first victory at the pro level, knowing that, we may not have realized it, I guess, until I started really looking at the points, but you've been close a couple of times. Fontana, I think, especially when you ran on the podium, was maybe a foreshadowing of things to come, but how sweet is it to finally get it done?
Yeah, I did not expect it coming into this race. Auto Club, I really thought I had a chance closing like a 10th or 2 faster than everyone on the track the last 10 laps. Would have been close, but a yellow took that away. So wasn't the fastest one tonight, but I'll take it however I can get to make up for that one.
I know, and definitely we've heard that you're 80 points ahead of 21st position with 2 races to go. Unofficially, all you have to do now going into next week is finish about 28th to guarantee your spot in the Peak Antifreeze Series for 2016. That's got to be a good feeling. How psyched are you to go into these last 2 races and know it's not going to take much? You just got to be smooth, and you're at the top level for this year, rather.
Feeling pretty good about that, but I'm looking at the bigger picture. Top 5, top 3, or there's even a shot at the championship, but that's going to be a tough one. But I'm up for the challenge, see what I can do.
Well, you're only 20 points back. I mean, you got a shot at it. Are you just going out running your races and maybe hoping that a bad break befalls Barry and Bose here that thrusts you right back into the middle of this?
What's going to be the challenge is Daytona. That's just going to be a big old lottery. What can happen, what can't happen.
I know tonight's a big night for you, Dylan. I know there's a lot of people that go into this deal that you probably want to thank on finally getting to Pro Series victory lane. Who makes it happen for you and the 46 crew?
I got to give a big shout out to everyone on Trifecta Racing Group, and the 2 main people is the team owner and one of the setup engineers, Joel Putty, and then the guy on top of the pit box doing field calculations, Trent Brown.
It's a sweet night in Gatorade victory lane. Dylan Rafferty, the winner. Dylan, I know you're going to celebrate this one tonight. Congratulations again, and we'll see you at Richmond.
See you then.
That's it from down here in Gatorade victory lane. We're going to throw it back upstairs. Andy Kessler, let's take a look down the final full field rundown.
Yeah, what a fantastic race here at Kentucky, and comes out with the big win for Dylan Rafferty, pulling out his first ever career pro race win. So big congratulations to him. Josh Berry taking over the points lead. He came home second here tonight. Brad Davies, real strong car all race long, just didn't have enough for it at the end there. He'll finish in that third spot. Fourth goes to Timmy Hill, and Logan Clampett rounds out the top five. Alex Warren, another good run for him, finishing in that sixth spot. Seventh goes to Mitchell Hunt tonight in the 81. Byron Daly, a strong run for him, finishing eighth. Ninth goes to Michael Johnson, and Damon Burnett in the 18 will round out the top 10.
Ryan Borges is going to come home in the 11th position. Jason Jacoby will take 12th place. Nick Furler, after being up front and leading 18 laps early on, he's going to finish 13th. Not what he was looking for here tonight. Greg McKinney needing a strong run. He's in the bubble spot right now for making the Peak Antifreeze Series. He finishes 14th. Brandon Hoff is going to finish 15th. Andrew Fayesh will finish 16th. Rob Ackley is 17th. David Rattler is 18th. Joey Israelson is 19th. And rounding out the top 20, Shane Daughtry finishes 20th.
21st tonight, probably had a top 10 car, was Dylan Jones. He finishes 21st. 22nd goes to Robin Williams. Jeff Ramsdale will finish in that 23rd spot. The 40 of Joshua Lawton comes home in the 24th spot. 25th goes to Ryan Lowe. Adam Gilliland, tough break for him there towards the end. He'll come home in that 26th spot. 27th goes to Justin Trombley. Blake Bryant in the 02 will finish 28th. 29th is Thomas Davis. And 30th tonight is the 27 of Cody Bias.
Brandon Schmidt had a very rough night tonight. He finishes 31st. Nicholas Johnston, who ran up towards the front in the early stages of the race, got caught up in one of those many late race cautions. He's going to finish 32nd. Tyler Laughlin also caught up in one of those late race wrecks. He finishes 33rd. Kyle Putz, 34th. Trey Edson, 35th. Dylan Duvall, 36th. Alan Bose had internet issues and fell out of the server early on. He's going to finish 37th. And rounding out a short field here tonight in the 38th position is Jacob Harberts. And Mr. Seelman, we're going to go back to you, and we have 2 weeks left in this battle for the championship, and with Richmond and Daytona looming, I'm not sure which one's the bigger wild card.
Daytona, for sure. Daytona is the key. I know they say beating and banging can cause anything to happen at Richmond, but gosh darn, it's a plate race. And anytime you have a plate race, especially as the season finale, it blows the championship wide open. I'm not ready to say that Dylan Rafferty doesn't have a shot at this title, because if he can stay out of trouble the next 2 races, he may be able to take advantage of breaks and possibly claim the ultimate glory here at the end of Daytona in a couple of weeks' time. Josh Berry, as he said, in the catbird seat right now, but it is far from over. I'm looking forward to it. Berry, Bose, Rafferty, Dylan Duvall, and Timmy Hill, the top 5, with Josh Berry becoming the first of the 20 drivers to officially clinch their spot in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series for 2016. Of course, that'll be unofficial. That's clinch based on the points numbers going into the final 2 races of the season. Right now, though, we want to say congratulations to the driver of the number 46, Dylan Rafferty, picks up a huge NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series victory here at Kentucky tonight and gets his name in the record books for the first time. So right now, for Brian Macklin, Andy Kessler, our executive producer Laura Lawson, and all the fine folk at iRacing and the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding you to keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time on the web. Congratulations to the Rafferty camp. We'll see you in Richmond. Good night.